Right, thank you very much, Samson. Yes, I've followed the discussions, but before I come to what you've asked me to answer, I want to make a first short comment on the Galamsey issue. I mean, just a second on that. The minister has made it to understand that licenses that were issued after December 7th have been revoked. So the question I ask is, those people whose licenses have been revoked, is it not likely that some of them may want to go to court? And so we need to look at that. I'm also looking at Article 268 of the Constitution, which deals with ratification of mining licenses. I mean, so did they also go through that process? I mean, the minister has to also look at that side of the law. They will look at that. Then fast forward to the case in the US. I've listened to Councillor because I think as counsel in the case, he's in a better position to give us the update on the matter. This was sitting here, only read. He was in court live. But my issue has to do with the comparison that unfortunately Anas made. If you watch his video, you realize that he was trying to compare what we have in the US as against Ghana. And if you went to the extent of mentioning the names of judges, especially the trial judge, Justice Barr, I think that's quite unfair. If you get to the US, as something you know, they deal with the jury trials or jury system when it comes to civil matters, especially in defamation. In Ghana, it's a single judge. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Council Adikame want to correct me. The jury there, they deal with the facts, but not the law. Trial of facts. But in Ghana, the judge will deal with the facts and the law. And so if in Ghana, you have a judge sitting on a matter to deliver judgment, I mean, you should grant him that right, grant him that kind of thing that he has done as a judge. And if you think that he has done something that is against the law, that's what the law requires. You can also go up on the appellate process. I think I understand he also did the same thing. And so Anas, as a lawyer in Ghana, who is also not only a lawyer, is the licensed to practice in Ghana, must also be looking at the words that he's been using post this judgment. In any event, you come back to Ghana as a Ghanaian, maybe go to the courts.
You are saying that somebody who loses a suit in the court cannot criticize the judiciary of Ghana that they have been unfair, they didn't give him justice, or that whatever they did was a travesty. Is that not a criticism almost every loser makes?
Samson, I agree with you. If you file a case in court in Ghana and you lose, and you may want to analyze, critique the judgment, it's fair. But when you go to another jurisdiction on the same matter and then you win, and you begin to then compare, it means that you think that US is far better. US is a system where you can have justice and fairness. But if you come to Ghana, you cannot have justice and fairness. People have gone to court who have also lost, or they've won and sought appeal against the judgments. I think it's unfair.
Okay, I get your point. But the comparison that people make, is there not also some sense in it that here we don't have, as it were, laws for the prosecution of a defamation matter, so to speak? We have just small rules within the CI 47, and over and again it's been requested that we need to, promulgate a law like you have in the UK, in the US, but we don't have that yet. Don't you think that their system may be better and preferred in the sense that it's not a sole judge who is sitting and deciding your case? Here there's a jury, and you have 8 jurors who sit and assess the facts. Some say that is better than allowing one judge, if they have prejudices, biases, and so on, that is unchecked.
Samson, Ghana, we have the system when it comes to first-degree felonies like murder and the rest. But there are a level of criticisms that people are saying that, and indeed, if you look at that system, now it's even under attack. The people who sit as jurors, who are they? What's the caliber of such people?
Yeah, the CA is reforming it.
Let's pray and hope that we can reform it. But if you have a system where the jury will go to court, after court to come back to their homes, go to churches, watch television, go to the stadium, listen to people, discuss matters. Sometimes they even discuss issues that they are sitting on. How fair do you expect such a system to deliver justice? And so if you have a single judge who can sit on it and deliver justice, why not? US, perhaps their system is a bit better because they are far advanced. But in Ghana, if even with the little that we are practicing since 1960 during trials, we are beset with a lot of problems. I don't know how we can resolve those challenges. And so I'm not for that. I think we should still use judges when it comes to civil matters. Perhaps we may want to reform it in a way, if that's a suggestion, that in some cases we may want to have a judge. You don't have a single judge sitting on it. You can have 2 or 3 or 5 judges sitting on it. That's another ball game. But I'll never support a situation where in civil matters you have a jury sitting in it with a judge.
Okay.
Because what we have experienced so far is not something that we can actually be proud of.
Okay. So shall we move on to the Ahmed Suale issue?
Yes.
Yes. So that issue, you seem to suggest that the police may not have sufficient evidence to proceed on, because for all the years that you were seized with this matter, you couldn't make the decision that this was what to be done. But what the police are telling us, and as we see in the court documents, is that they have been after this Daniel Owusu-Koranting for a long time. They invited him, and they seem to suggest that he escaped out of the country, and he just came back, and they got word and went to arrest him.
Yes, when we were in office, this docket was presented to our ministry after the police had conducted their investigations. After going through the docket and reviewing same, we realized that there wasn't enough evidence to warrant the prosecution of anyone. And we further directed the police to do further investigation. So I'm happy that today the police have been able to do some form of investigations and come out with a suspect who has been placed before the law courts. I'm not suggesting that the police does not have enough evidence today to prosecute someone.
Okay.
But only raise the issue. Do they actually have it? If they have it, I mean, it's something that we are all for. Murders are things that we should not tolerate in our society. I mean, impunity is something that we must all fight against. And so if today the police are able to arrest someone, I'm not saying that gentleman is guilty. I mean, I have to issue that kind of disclaimer. I'm not
innocent until proven guilty, yeah.
Exactly. If they're able to get some evidence and they are prosecuting, I hope and pray that they have enough evidence to prosecute him in court. As Dr. Kennedy said, sometimes you may want to put people before court for the fun of it, not in a negative sense, but you'll be exposed when it comes to the actual hearing of the matter. And so it's my expectation that the police, so far as they've arrested him, they should have enough evidence that should warrant the continuous prosecution of that gentleman.
Why do you seem to be doubtful, however small the doubts? Once the police have arrested the person, they have put him in court, and they are proceeding, someone of your stature and the benefits you have had, should you have these doubts?
It's so easy for you to put someone before court, but very difficult to prove a case against an accused person. You know, as a former prosecutor, I know that the standard required of you is to prove the guilt of an accused person beyond reasonable doubt. And so if you're not very sure, when it comes to murder, committal proceedings, I mean, at district magistrate court, you can be going there, but after the committal proceedings, that's where the game starts at the high court. So I'm just waiting. That's what I'm saying. I'm just praying that they can do the committal proceedings well. The accused person or the accused person committed to stand right in the high court, then we'll look at the bill of indictment. If they have enough evidence, I mean, we should all support the police and the Attorney General's office to prosecute this gentleman if he actually did cause the death of Ahmed Suale.
He's charged with murder. And you just left office. That's the surprise to people. Dampare was there, and you may hear some rumors around all of this, why it would have only taken the new IGP to get this kind of thing done. It's surprising, isn't it? That's just when you leave, and just when the IGP Dampare leaves, the next morning, this suspect is apprehended.
It's a bit surprising, Samson. And my worry is the Attorney General's office relies on the investigation conducted by state agents, police, CID, Yoku, and the rest. And so sometimes you may sit in the ministry, write letters to the police, asking them to do further investigations. And because the police CID is not under the AG directly, but reports to the Interior Ministry, even if they don't respond within time, you cannot do all that much. You'll tell you we are working on it. So I'm looking at a system where one day we will have the Attorney General's office having its own investigators, crack investigators, who report directly to the Attorney General, so the Attorney General can control when it comes to the investigation into various cases. During our time, I said, we wrote to the police asking them or directing them to do further investigations, but they will tell you we are conducting investigations and we cannot force them. And surprisingly, we left about 2-3 months ago. Dampari leaves, and within that week, someone is arrested. It's quite curious.
Okay, so what's the level of your faith that this may lead to what we have all been looking for since January 2019 when the murder occurred? What's the level of your faith? On a ratio of 1 to 10, where will you stand?
I'm looking at 7 out of 10. I'm looking at 7 out of 10. But the investigators must not do armchair investigation. That appears to be our challenge. You have quite a lot of investigators in this country who only go to the police, the police CID office, or whether it's NIB, whether it's National Security or Yoko, and they take only statements of suspects or accused, but they're doing further investigations. When they come to court, it's about what they took from the accused person. So in case like this, I expect that the police should not rest for now. They must come further. For you may know, there will be other people behind this dastardly act. And so if they are prosecuting, I commend them for initiating it, but they must not rest and they must not be doing armchair investigations in this particular matter. They must go to the field.
You have not known them, you work with them, you have not known them to do armchair investigations, right?
Sometimes, it's not all the time. In private practice, at the time that we're in private practice, some of us were challenging them on how they've been conducting investigations. But you may have instances where you expect the investigators to go to the field, do further work. Perhaps in this particular matter, they've done a lot of investigations. I remember that in the course of reviewing the case, we were told that, was it the phone or something had been sent to the FBI in the US to conduct further investigations. And so maybe they've gotten something much from that investigation. They must collaborate with other sister agencies within and without and come to a conclusion where all Ghanaians will be happy to find the killers of Ahmed Suale.
Right. And it is possible that the collaboration you are talking about is going on, right?
It's very possible since I'm out of it, because at the time that we were there, we were told that they have sent some phones to the US FBI.
Right.
So I expect that they are doing other things, yes.
Right. How material is it? And I suppose this will not be something that the police just suddenly chanced on. In the brief facts accompanying the charge, they say that this person who has been arrested, also a journalist. Let me read the brief fact. It's not much, so let me read all of it, and we can project it on the TV for you to see as well. They say that this process began with a petition from Ibrahim Hamer Tahidu, who is a relative of the deceased, Ahmed Hussein Suale, while the accused, Daniel Owusu Koranting, alias Amache, is a managing director of iSpy Company. Both Ahmed Suale and the accused were employees of Tiger Eye Company, led by Anas Armiyawa Nas. The accused had multiple interactions with the deceased and his family before his death. Tensions escalated in June 2018 when Honorable Kennedy Ejapon broadcasted images of Ahmed Suale on Net 2 TV, calling for retribution against the investigative journalist. The deceased, Ahmed Suale, later identified the accused. So it is the dead Ahmed Suale who identified this accused person. Later identifies the accused as the person who provided Honorable Ejapon with his photographs. On January 16, 2019, following the publication of the deceased images, he was shot and killed in Medina. Call records placed the accused in Medina near Suale's residence before and at the time of the murder. Further analysis showed that later that same day, the accused traveled from Medina to his residence in Amasaman late in the evening at about 23:15 hours after the murder. During the investigation, the accused declined multiple police invitations and later fled to the United Kingdom somewhere in August 2019. Accused later returned to Ghana and with an intelligence led to his arrest in Amasaman on the 15th of March 2025. He admitted knowing the deceased, visiting Honorable Kennedy Japan, and having taken photographs with the deceased, but denies selling the photographs to anyone. Police investigation is ongoing to identify other suspects in the case. How does this feel to you?
First question, from the facts, the accused person fled to the UK and later came back to Ghana. So how come that when he got to the airport in Accra, if he can definitely come to Kotoka International Airport or any other border post, they could not identify him and then got him arrested? That's a key question. Because if you know that a murderer, suspected murderer has traveled out, definitely he should be, his record should be on a stop list. So any airport that he gets to, he'll be able to be tracked. I've listened to the lawyer for the accused person. He says otherwise. So that's the first point. Then if you look at the court records, here, let me commend the police for doing that painstaking investigations. Because if indeed he was close to his house, he fled the scene to where he lives at Amasaman. I mean, circumstantially, you may want to construct a case of his possible culpability in the murder of Ahmed Suale. But facts are different from evidence. Sometimes you know instance where you go to court and the facts will be given, but when it comes to the evidence, the prosecution will be found wanting.
Especially for us defense lawyers, we are always excited.
Yeah, exactly. Because now I'm a defense counsel. I'm no longer a prosecutor.
Yeah,
and so
I like the place you sit now.
Exactly. And so if you give these facts, it's the expectation of the prosecution.
Okay.
That evidence to back the facts that you have given. And if all these things are to be connected and they are indeed true, then it means that the suspect will have some case to answer in court.
Okay, thank you very much.